Hello and welcome back to Deconstructed. I am Sam Animo Mackenzie and I'm here with a fireplaceless Harry Nero Richards. Today we're going to talk about Team Liquid, everyone's favourite NA team. They used to be shit, and they got quite good, and they had fallen, they were shit, and then they had shocks and they were shitter. Now they're actually quite good, but people still think they're shit. Harry, what's your thoughts?
Well, that's definitely a decent summary, isn't it? Shit, then good, shit, then good, shit, then good. Really insightful as ever. But I don't know. I think they've had a tricky 2023. It's probably fair to say because the back end of 2022, apart from the major, they're basically top four all the time. Basically, just playing well all the time. Yukindo's come in. He's doing really well in the interviews. He's doing slightly worse in game than in the interviews, but still doing really well in the game. And the team looks a lot better. They've got a little bit more of a European system, more of a CIS system. And then this year, kind of, I don't know. Katowice was the same again. Close to, they beat some good teams. They beat FaZe, they beat Vitality, and then lose to G2. It's perfectly reasonable. Like for a team like Liquid, that's a completely reasonable run. Top four again. They looks normal. And then Pro League, they lose to Pain, and then at the RMR, they struggle again a little bit. Like they have to squeak past. I think it was Nouns to qualify. I think Nitro did an interview afterwards saying something like, maybe it was a tweet. Just said, "Oh, it doesn't matter how you qualify. It's just that you do qualify. Like they're not coming into this too hot. Basically, they're not coming into the major as a top five team anymore for most people. I don't think. Um, so yeah, it's a story of another major, and it does look like right now they're not going to get that major, and Cloud9 will still be the only NA team with a major, which is kind of unfortunate, really, for if you're a Liquid fan at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, mostly unfortunate for Elige, definitely for the most part, but also some degree Naf, because I think Naf's actually quite. Maybe he's not up there with Twists and Elige, but he's quite unfairly left totally out of those conversations. And I mean, like, I've always liked Liquid, and you
Optic
had a
fan, of
period of
course.
liking Liquid. Gotta back my boy. Um, but like, it does just feel like, as much as people have been underrating this Liquid team for a while. I mean, if you look at their minimum top four, but also their runners up since Cologne, they are one of the best teams in the world, even if they might have fallen out of the, let's say, repeated top four puts you in the elite bracket. That, like, what, like it is just kind of a shame that they're not gonna have this major because they just aren't a team ready to compete for a major at the moment.
And yeah, that's the thing as well. It's probably a little bit overplayed, the last CS:GO major, all that narrative stuff, but yeah, but it is sort of this last chance. There's no guarantee that Elige, Naf, and Nitro as a core is already sort of like their peak will always be 2019. I think that's pretty clear. Like Elige is never going to be the same player again as he was in 2019. That was just a level that he's not looked like hitting ever since the Orb became more dominant again, without the Kriegs, without the Orgs and things. Like he's just never threatened to hit that level. Naf is a stable player, but he's probably now ideally your fourth best player, not your third best player. Um, in terms of the way he plays now, it's like he's playing a lot more anchor positions. He's not a star lurker anymore. He's not Cold Zero. He's more like, I don't know. He's a bit more, I'm trying to think of a player. He's more withdrawn now, basically. So you're looking for a bit of outside influence to pump Elysian, Naf, and Nitro back up to where they were in 2019, because I don't think they can do it themselves anymore. And that's kind of the limiting factor. So when you're looking at this team, you're actually really looking at OC and Yakinda, as much as they're not really relevant narrative wise. I think if Liquid are to win this major, it's gonna be from Yakinda and OC more than a huge overperformance from Elige or Naf.
Okay, so let's talk about Yukindar first then, because I think we've both got our opinions on Yukindar, and I'll get mine out the way. Um, I don't think that there is a more overrated player in the last 6 or 7 years, whenever I got into Counter Strike, than Yakindar. I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
I mean, partially agree. I see why. I do see the argument because it's he's one of those players where he's so hot and cold that, and he's got such a big voice in the team that you can tell that when he has an off game, like Liquid just don't look good at all. Like when he is just doing that, he's just feeding opening deaths again and again and again. Like you can see the team. They're not like a clutch team like FaZe. Then they can't win 4v5s all day. But if you've got a player like Yakindar, same's true of Patsy, Nafany, are all of these like ultra aggressive players. Cypher from Into the Breach, he's going to be a bit like that if he's not as good at the RMR as he is at the major. Um, like these types of players, like people love these types of players because they're flashy. They're they play like you do in matchmaking. It's why people like them. But from a pro perspective, this type of just unbridled just aggression, I think it puts a cap on how good you can be as a player. Even someone like Nico, who's like he's aggressive, but he's not like uncapped aggression. Like he's quite measured. Even he will like has drop offs in playoffs quite consistently. Like even that type of aggressive rifling is hard to be the star player in a team, and then people like Yekindar take that to another level. Like he's not, whether he's regardless of talent, he doesn't give himself the positions to be a star player in this team. I don't think. I think it's his playstyle, sure, but he can never be consistent like this. I don't think.
Well, I mean, if you remember, a while ago, there was that NAF interview where NAF said, like, I'm not one of the stars of this team. It's OC, Kindar, Elise, and that's completely fair. Like, that's evident to see. You watch a Liquid game, that's what you're getting. NAF's no longer a star. But I
Mhm.
also just think, like, and yeah, I could, you know, make the same argument as why it's actually a negative for FaZe that their like three true stars are probably Twist, Brokey, and Rops, and they're all kind of like the passive elements, and it's why they don't consistently win, whatever, whatever. Um, but I think when you've got a player like your Kindar who can just be this exceptional opener, this like constant thorn in the T side on the CT side, but also in a certain game can just be like the reason you are losing. Because even if he gets one, he's immediately traded, and there's nothing you can do about that. I just don't really see why Liquid is kind of built around your Kindar's aggression the way it is. I'm not saying that like,
Mhm.
switching to the passive sense is more um consistent, because I think we've seen now with a year of this FaZe team, or 18 months of this FaZe team, however long it's been, that it's not consistent. I feel like it is probably more consistent and more um I can't think of the word, but um it's easier to win bigger games when your like play style is
Yeah,
more based around the
it's
opposite.
well, he's just an X factor. Like Yekindar will win you games, he'll win you series, but he's probably not going to win you tournaments. Like at some point, the sample size is just going to rack up where someone else needs to step up. And so this is the thing. Like Liquid would be a much scarier team if Elige was the best player in this team. Like with Yekindar being the best player on this team, I'd never seen them winning a tournament. He's always going to drop off on a map or two, and you need the supporting cast to be there. And I don't think Yekindar can never work in a team that wins tournaments. This is the issue I have with it, is that he's the star player, that he's supposed to be carrying them. That's what I see not working. Because I think if there's lots of fancy moves we could make to put in this Liquid team, chuck someone in for OC or something, and then but then you're because that's the other issue. I think the how convinced are you by your boy Nitro? I think is the way Liquid play not just as much on Nitro as it is on Yukindo?
Um, I'm gonna say a ridiculous statement for the sake of saying a
Okay,
ridiculous
okay.
statement. If Nitro was the AWPer, Liquid would be a better team.
Who's the right? What? In just OC rifling or someone else?
Oh no, you boot him. Like,
Okay, okay.
don't ask me who you get. If you get Crim back, I don't know.
Grim.
I don't know.
And have
Um,
the same situation again where he has bad rolls and sucks.
well,
Because
no,
if you
because
kick,
NAF
if
plays.
Nitro's AWPing, someone else has
Yeah,
to.
put your Kindar in them, man. He's bad. We just established that he's bad. Um,
Yeah, it'd be great, Bianca, yeah, for sure.
but like, I mean, you know, who the fun one is that you get. You know, who the really
For
fun one
OC.
is. Yeah, if you then getting a
If you're getting a
rifler,
rifler, well,
you.
Queserato. It's Queserato.
Oh, okay, no, that's the really fun one. But there is another like really fun
At
one.
least you can speak Portuguese. He can communicate for him. It's worth it.
Yeah,
Who's
right.
the other
Anyway,
one?
so it's Twist. It is Twist. You
It's
bring
not
him
gonna
back.
happen. It's just not gonna
Bring the
happen.
boy back. Well, no, it's not going to happen, but that's other factors. Um, but yeah,
That would be really fun actually, because Yukinder and Stewie
so good.
similar. That would be really fun because you could see if the Grand Slam team would be good in a modern era without the Krieg and the Org. That would be really
Yeah,
fun.
exactly.
That'd be fun.
It'd be
Will
really
never
cool.
happen. So
Will never happen.
moving on.
But it'd be fun. Queserato would be good. Anyway,
But yeah, you're dodging the question. Nitro as an IGL. I don't care about his rifling or his AWPing.
Nitro is an IGL, right? Right. Now, I love Nitro. I really do. He's easily top three favorite CS player of all time for me. Um, he's just not very good, is he? In like, no beating around the bush. He's not very good anymore. I mean, the games that he plays well, and I know you can say this about any team with their like fucking fifth best player, but like they win so much more comfortably. Or typically, actually, they don't, but it's just someone else sandbagging, like Elige. Um, uh, and I wonder how much he actually does as an IGL nowadays, because I think if it's been a long-standing joke of like, oh, your Kindar came in and he taught us so much, which is
No.
still really strange. But also, if you watch their comms videos, it does really seem like your Kindar does a lot more talking than he should if he's not the team's IGL, which does
Yeah.
begin to beg the question of
I think they
what is Nitro doing?
I think they always had a little bit of that dynamic because even the 2019 team, like they had Stewie. Stewie is a louder voice than Nitro on that team, probably. But he's still not the main IGL. It's I think Nitro and Yukindar is they're trying to get that dynamic that Nitro and Stewie had, and we saw how Nitro and Stewie ended. It ended with Nitro being cut and Stewie being a bad main IGL. Like Stewie and Yukindar are definitely like I think they need to be mid rounding. I think mid rounding helps them play. And Nitro is sort of I don't know. He's calling out Spawn a few times a half. He's being an emotional leader. Like that's the value of Nitro is that he's Elise's mate. Really, what we're talking about is Elise's mate. And there's also it's hard to think of anyone who can come in. It's so you kind of are hoping that they can just play a pretty loose system because you've got to give a little bit of credit to Nitro. Like he has to be doing something. Like that he came back in and Liquid got much better like pretty straight away. Like they had the shocks thing as soon as shocks was gone. Like we're all looking at the Yukindar thing, but there was also Nitro had 6 months to to learn the meta back, things like that. Like I think it's easy to be harsh on Nitro because he's not like outspoken. He's not a Carrigan where you can see he's just got the team like under his thumb. Like he's not. It's a different type of leadership, but it's clearly one that works quite well for these like NA players who don't really want to be micromanaged and things like that. Like it's the type of thing where Yukindar can be the bad cop if someone makes a mistake, and Nitro can be the good cop, and that's the way that you keep a team of tillers. Naf's had some rage moments. Elige, we know Elige can. can tilt sometimes. Like sometimes. So it's like I think there's value in Nitro, and if you have the tactical base from Daps and your Kindar, you can see why this team was a good team for a while. It's what we're looking at is how do you break that ceiling? Like there's just a
Okay.
glass ceiling, and there's an
Okay.
elephant
What
in the
if?
room, and his name's OC.
And we'll get to OC, but just a just a quick question. Um, because we've seen them become a far better team in the same time Liquid has, even if they're not at the similar heights to Liquid. Would Liquid be better with JT than Nitro?
It feels like plus Hoxie. Feels a lot like plus Hoxie. Which
Is that a positive or a negative?
is in. I mean, at least Hoxie had the major quarterfinals, right? Like JT, I don't think JT has shown enough, and he's too bad a fragger to be in a team like Liquid for starters. For me personally, like I think that is just, I think he just can't frag enough. But also, I don't think he's shown enough. Like he's helped Grim get back to a good level, but Grim was at a good level in Triumph. Like this complexity team is nothing special. They've had one good tournament, and then at Melbourne they just bomb as soon as they're favourites. Like I don't think JT has shown, like he's doing a good job. He's not doing a get him into Liquid job. I don't think he'd improve them right now.
Fair. What would he have to do for you to change his mind? For you to change your mind rather? Major playoffs?
With complexity, I mean,
They almost made
I don't
playoffs
know.
in
I
KO.
think they did come pretty close in KO. I think what you need is 2 or 3 consistent results. Like no one picked up Hooksy after the first major. It was the second major, and then he still looked like he might not have a team. Like for a bit, like Copenhagen Flames were getting, scrapped up. People were going everywhere. Like Fnatic didn't take him. Fnatic decided to have Mezzi as an IGL instead of getting the Copenhagen Flames core. Like I think the G2 move kind of came out of nowhere. To be honest, like, I think I,
That
I,
was a
I,
strange
I
move.
and it's gone well. It's gone well. Like I'm not saying that you can't have an IGL who's not that good at fragging, because when you play well, and we saw this with Hooksy, when the team's really in flow, like your IGL does get easy kills. They do just farm their aim a little bit. They only need 3 or 4 rounds of impact a game, and it's fine. It's fine. You've got 4 stars. But JT, if you get JT, okay, so if it's JT and then 4 really good players, fine. But I think if I've got Liquid's budget, and it's probably quite a big budget from how much I've heard Yukindar and Elige get paid, I wouldn't spend it on JT, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So let's go back to the elephant in the room.
Mhm.
What's it about OC? I mean, he's a lovely guy. It was a great interview. He certainly had some big rounds, some impressive games. I mean, the overpass game against Vitality started
Mhm.
out horrendously for Liquid, and he was easily the main driving force into them taking the map. I don't think he missed a shot after the first half, or after 12 rounds rather. Um, but when you look at the teams above Liquid, when you see, um,
Mhm.
you know, Vitality with Zywoo, and I mean, even Heroic with Cadian, but Navi and Simple, and FaZe and Brokey, and even Cloud9 and Shiro, and definitely G2 with Munacy. It is the big drop off, isn't it?
That's the gap, because Heroic make up for Cadian not being like an insane AWPer because their system is probably the best at constricting AWPers. Liquid don't have a system like that. They, like, the amount of times I see a Legion Jikendar just get AWPed. They're taking fights because they're trying to take initiative, and they just get AWPed. It feels like I should have looked at the stat for that. Like they just get AWPed all the time. And I think that is the sort of the, because if you have, it's really hard because OC is clearly, for me, the best NA AWPer right now. He's been the best NA AWPer since Cadoodle, probably. And it's just still not. not quite there. Like if you chuck in a Star Opera and you've got, so this is the move I've been pushing for years. I've always wanted Device to go to Liquid. I just think it'd be funny, mainly. But if we're in this
Could
hypothetical
be good,
world,
but mainly funny.
yeah,
Classic.
hypothetically.
Classic.
So if you've got a device, if you could have any of those Star Operas, and then you've got Elysian, Yakinda, and NAF as like the three riflers behind a Star Opera. You only need two of them to pop off, and Nitro. You can keep Nitro as an IGL and Anchor and whatever. Like you're cooking with gas. Then if you shift Yakinda to the third best player, Elise to the second best player, and NAF to the fourth best player, that's as good firepower as you need to win trophies easily. Like those three players are very very good. The problem is that they have too much responsibility right now, and I think that's because Liquid is still living in a world where rifling can win you tournaments. You need an AWPer. You just need an AWPer. You either need an AWPer or to be Cadian or Jane, and Nitro isn't Cadian or Jane. So
What if he could be? Right? Am I,
but
do, you,
even when,
do you
do you know,
remember
I
the
looked the other day.
overpass? The overpass clip,
Stop
Harry?
talking about overpass.
Do you remember it? Okay.
Stewie had more AWP kills per round in Liquid's Grand Slam run than Nitro.
Yeah, no, it really did shatter my
Yeah, like
my memories of that team.
they just ran 5 rifles, and a lot of the time they weren't AKs. Just checking that out there as well. Like
Oof.
it was the 2019 Liquid team. It was the perfect time, the perfect meta for a rifling American loose team to win everything. Everything was right for that team. Now they've got like we're basically in this modern era where you need a good AWPer, you need to save a lot, you need all of this, unless you're heroic, and they're not heroic, as I've said. A bit too much of a fanboy for Heroic, aren't I, these days? Can't believe that's happened.
I think we both are. It's really not good. Anyway.
It's just watch it with your eyes, and you have to be. But yeah, this is where we're at. We're like this is where we're at with a team that has been quite good. It's a little bit like the Navi episode where we're saying, oh, they've got all these top fours, they're doing quite well, and it's like, how do you push them over the edge? And
Well, you make changes.
yeah, you either make huge change to your system, which is harder to do, or you change your system, or you change your player. Like,
I think the one thing we are leaving out though that I don't think it changes the narrative, but maybe it changes the way other people look at them. Vitality have won what 2 trophies since Spinks with Rio and Pro League season 16.
yeah, not the biggest, but yeah.
Vitality should not have won Pro League. If you look at the scoreboard, there is one player who performed worse than anyone in that series, and it is probably the one player who shouldn't, or maybe one of
Well,
two
that
players who
final,
shouldn't. Yeah,
I've actually forgotten about this.
it's Elise. Elise was
Yeah.
awful in that final.
Well, I mean,
So this Liquid team really should have a tier 1 trophy. And I mean, like,
Zyro's got a 1.39 rating, man. Like this, I I want to know how many times Elise got AWPed in that series.
it's
Honestly,
probably a lot.
probably a
It's
lot. Best
probably
of
a lot.
5. So if Zy was dropping 143 kills in 5 maps, like that, you're just backing up my point. They couldn't stop him.
But do you think that changes anything? If Elise did just like
Shoot more
not
people. Well, of course it
not be
helps. Of course it helps.
Brolam?
But like, but this is. It's too hard to say that you can't blame Elise in one series for a team as a whole. That's too. I just don't like your angle. I just don't like your angle. I think it's
Okay,
harsh.
okay.
I think it's harsh.
Maybe it's
I mean,
okay
it's
to
more
be
of a
harsh
structural thing,
sometimes.
and it is. It is. And we've been quite harsh this episode. We've been harsher than
You've
we
always
normally
been
are.
a tough love kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good reference. Good reference.
I don't even know where that's referencing, to be honest. But
Oh, you definitely do.
you'll have to message me
We'll
afterwards.
get
I'll
to it
tell you I
later.
don't.
We'll get to it later. We'll get to it
Amazing.
later. Don't worry.
Uh, but yeah, I think, and the other thing is the whole reason Twist left in the first place is because they didn't want to commit to moving to NA. Like that was his ultimatum. I think it was either remove a player. I think he wanted to cut. I mean, it's implied to be Stewie. Twist either said like cut Stewie, move to Europe, or I'm leaving. Like that was basically what he said. And
Stewie
they
being
did none of those
involved in
things.
teams. Where have I heard that before?
Underrated, underrated. And here we are. We're left with Liquid that's still an NA, that still moans about NA teams practicing. Like they're still just not they've just not committed. Like it's kind of the thing with the NA culture that it's always been like you're never going to get a team like Outsiders who just play 12 hours a day from NA. You're just never going to get that. And I think Liquid, if you want Liquid to be the best team in the world, do you think any team can do it from NA? Is it a Liquid problem? Because we saw 2019,
Oh no, they can't.
they're winning all those tournaments, but those tournaments they were like one a week. It was like in 2 months,
It's
like
63 days.
63 days. So yeah, so they didn't have time to go back to NA and spend time with their family. All the things
And
that
funnily
is
enough, when they
completely
did,
okay to value, but it's just hard to do. Yeah, and then the player
it's what
break and they got
tore them
fucked.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah, the player break fucked it. So it's like, is it if you're an NA team, how do you spend enough time and enough effort to be the best team in the world? I think that's hard as well. I don't think I don't think like anything. It's not as simple as this player played work badly, this player played well. Like they've got three really good pieces, and I think if they were in Europe the whole time, maybe they could attract a star Orber. I'm sure OC wouldn't have lasted as long as he had if someone like Device said he wanted to join Liquid. If Device just DM'd the league one day, like you've got to hope that they do that. And if it meant moving to Europe, you've got to hope they would do that. Like
Oh, surely you do for
it's
Device, like.
but yeah, but this is the thing, and now Device isn't even at the major because he joined a shit heap. So okay, that's harsh. I'm upset about
We've
that still.
changed
You
our
can
tune
tell.
since the
Oh, I
intro of
love
this
them.
episode.
I still love them. I mean, second at Brazy Pie, they're a good team. They're a good team. Good pieces. Got my boy
Yes,
Altex
because
in.
Brazy Party is a tournament we will all remember.
I'll remember it. Cloud9 Australia's finals. My two favourite teams, head to head. Amazing.
I thought Heroic was your favourite team now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's
Either
tough.
way, we're getting off topic. So yeah, okay. I'll I'll ask you a question for our little closing statement. You have an unlimited budget, and you get to make
Your favourite topic.
one change. Is it just device?
Oh, you got two options. It's either Device for OC or Queserato for. Is it Queserato for Nitro or for OC? Or you can.
Would you put Nitro on the AWP?
I just want to see Queserato in a good team. And maybe this is another bad team for him to join. But
I like I
oh,
like
I don't know.
I
I
like
don't know.
Queserato for OC. See if
Queserato needs to
Nitro
get out of
can AWP.
jail. He needs to get out of jail. But if do you see apparently Fury are playing quite differently now, so maybe Queserato wasn't in jail. Maybe that's a moot point. But
Yeah, I mean I
um,
can't lie. I haven't watched too much of the.
yeah, I've not watched the Americas RMR, so I've not watched them play.
Yeah, didn't watch that. Didn't really watch Rio. So.
Proper expert you are.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But yeah, so Queserato or
didn't have shit
Device.
going on.
I think I'd rather have Device. I think it
I
was
think device is the easier fix, but Queserato
Device
is
for
the more
OC,
fun one. And
and then yeah. Well, Nitro would have to prove that he can build a system around an AWPer, which hasn't done yet.
do you even
Well,
need to build around
apart
device,
from
or is he just that good?
yeah, I think oh, see, this is the thing, but no, he went to Astralis. He picked the boring option, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm happy he did.
Hmm. Are you?
Yep.
Because I'm not.
Oh,
Oh
Altex
my
winning
lord.
they're gonna win the major in Copenhagen. CS2 major. Give me a major.
That would be good. That's being clipped.
Altex lifting the
That's being
trophy.
clipped. Oh yeah.
There it is. There he is. My boy.
I can see it now. No idea what he looks like, but I can see it now.
You're really good at this.
I'm great. Yeah. I don't know. I think device obviously that's the one that makes them better. Like instantly, you put in device, they are just better because the caliber of player they've got on the upper. It just like what 3 times better. Like when you consider
Well,
the level it gets to at that point. Um,
mm,
Que Serato, I don't know who you kick.
but you kick
I
someone.
don't know how it all
You kick
fits
any of the
together.
five
Oh,
if you can get them.
you kick
Any of
whoever
them.
for Que Serato. Like without a doubt, he is. I reckon you put him in a better team, he's the best rifler in the world.
Some people think he already
Straight up.
is.
Well, no, he
Who else is
probably
there?
already is.
It's it's hard to say right now. Like
Nico, Hunter, Twist, um,
still on
Bottle
Twist
Job.
train.
I'll always be on Twist train.
Uh,
Axel, seeing as you look confused. Um,
yeah, there is that.
Massive bottle. You won't even deny it. Um,
Well,
unfortunately, Blame F. Blame F just is one of the best riflers in the world.
yeah, K-Sera's better than most of these
He
players.
just
This
plays
is the
like a
thing.
bitch.
I
But
think
yeah,
it's Nico. It's
K-Serato
K-Sera,
probably is
Nico,
better.
Axel. It's top three.
Mm.
I just
Top
put
two.
him in
We'll go
liquid.
top two. We'll go top two.
Just put him in it.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
agree.
they have got a major first though, and it's what. How bad do you think the major needs to go for them to actually make a change? Because it's been group stage last three. I think legend stage last three. I think I'm pretty like 99% sure it's been. They have not been in
Legends.
playoffs since COVID.
Yeah, so I think it was because they lost to Spirit in a 2-2
Yeah,
game
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, yeah. I know. I've
last time, and the 2 times before, I think didn't they get straight
Antwerp. They
Legends?
definitely didn't. Stockholm. They
Yeah,
definitely didn't qualify. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they haven't been at a playoff since COVID.
So this time they're starting in challenges, not Legends.
Hmm.
I think if they don't get challenges, if they don't get Legends, sorry, yeah, you see a change. I mean, Regali is
Hmm.
now
Free agent.
a free agent. I think he's the one you logically go for if you can't
Did get
prize
cut for Farley
anyone
though.
away.
It's probably something going on.
I reckon, and this is just pure bullshit, but I reckon he potentially probably didn't get cut for performances, and they already knew that their financial situation was what it was. So
What trying to
they
sell
were
him?
probably trying to shop him around,
But you do
try
that
and
while
give
he's in the
themselves a
team. As
few
soon
more
as you bench
months.
someone, their value tanks. Maybe that's why they went
Well,
bankrupt. I
yeah,
guess.
maybe. Um, but yeah, I think if they don't get legends, you've got to look at making a change. But I think my worry in that sense is that yeah, we might be seeing something different out of like Cloud9 and VP and Spirit. Um, but my worry for quite a lot of teams is we know the new game's right around the corner, and a
Mm.
lot of teams are just going to be like, oh, we'll just see what the first few months of
Yeah.
CS2 is like, and whether CS2 releases before or after Cologne. I think it will definitely be either with enough time before that it moves on to CS2, or it will be straight after. So Cologne is the last CS:GO tournament.
Hmm.
Um, I think that especially for teams like Liquid, that there's no part of me that doesn't think they would have that kind of mindset. I think the
Yeah.
rest of 2023 could be a dead team central
Yeah. Wait and see.
when we look back at it.
Yeah. It's sad that feels like the most likely thing. But our predictions have
Yeah.
been bad before. We've not got a great track record on those predictions, so
So we don't. So we don't. So we'll leave it on a prediction, I guess. I'm gonna say eliminated with a 1-3 record in Legends.
oh, I just feel like a playoff team. They feel like a playoff team.
They do, but it's the major, so
What I should
there'll
have
be some
done
playoff teams that aren't there.
if they've been boot camping in Europe playoffs, if they've been boot camping or not boot camping, if they've been in NA, legends 1-3 again, 2-3. There you go. Always a caveat
All
with
right.
me, but
Always a
I don't
caveat.
think. I think their ceiling is top four. I think top four with a lucky quarterfinal draw. I don't see them beating any of the big five teams in a playoff game.
No. No.
No,
Vitality. It
nah.
could be Vitality.
Zywu says
Especially in
no.
France. Especially in France when Zywoo's little shaky ass mentality doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Highest rated player in an arena since COVID, by the way. Oh no, second, simple span. by like 0.01.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Now
if
imagine
bottling
if
is a
I was that
1.23
good.
rating, then I'm on
Imagine
watch
if
obviously.
I was that good and you don't get 1.23 ratings, not anymore. But imagine if I was a superstar and had a weak mentality like him.
1.23 ratings. You're a joke.
You simply wouldn't love me like you do. Anyway, yeah, pull your faces. Anyway, thank you for watching. Deconstructed is a series that we're hoping will be more frequent. I think obviously Harry went off to the RMR, did his little thing. I was meant to be there, but things happened. April's been a interesting month, but we're both going to be in Paris. We're hoping we can film more there, and there'll be loads of content coming from Insight over the course of the month. So stick around.
Nice.